Let's do the transition pictures for Michael Jackson. He died at the age of 50 in the year 2009. Can you believe it's been that long? Crazy. But by the time he died, he'd actually sold 350 million albums. He started with the Jackson 5 in 1964, and then he went and did his solo career with a Motown label, and by 1982 had Thriller, which I think is still the biggest selling album of all time. I think he broke 39 Guinness World Records with his career as the most popular entertainer of all time. And he had a huge influence over people's lives. It's very hard to believe he's gone. But of course, on the private side, he had a terrible, terrible time. Terrible childhood. The press hounded him over the sexual abuse allegations and stuff like that. He died of a propofol overdose administered by his doctor, who was then convicted of manslaughter. But the overdose killed his patient. So when I tuned into the energy, I ended up in that place I always end up, that notional, metaphorical cave, that's tunnel, and he was lying on the ground. Now I know he had the overdose, but consciousness doesn't get overdosed. You can't drug consciousness, so I wasn't quite sure why he was on the ground. But I had to go over there and check on him in the pictures. Very curious. So I stand over him and I'm going, are you all right? And he's really drowsy. This is almost too on the nose. Okay, so he went to sleep because he had an overdose and now he's asleep in the pictures. I was a little worried about this. But he was just lying on the ground. He gets up and he feels numb. There's total depletion here. This wasn't tiredness from sleepy drug overdose tiredness. This was depletion of the spirit. A reduced soul. Crushed almost. He was it angry? I mean, he just kept going, this is not right. This is not just. This is not how it should be. I didn't go through that to endure this. There was a grievance I felt, an energy of resentment that lingered. Like, no, 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 this is not right. And as he walked along, it didn't dissipate, he just got more and more resistant. I am not going to go along with this. Something needs to be done here. Somebody sort this out. Tremendously powerful energy, actually. Now, there was the tunnel that everybody goes down. And he looked at it and went, no. This is not right. This isn't fair. I shouldn't be here. But the current is there. You can't avoid the current. It's a pull. It's a magnetic force that is drawing you on. The only thing that got him to move was turning it into a sense of fun, of inquiry, of curiosity. Don't you want to know what's up here? Don't you want to see what's at the top of this tunnel? Just leave all those worries behind. Yeah, come back to them later. Come and look what's up here. Very, very curious motivation. So he slinks up this tunnel. And as he gets about 2/3 of the way, these jets shoot steam or something, whatever this thing was, at him from both sides. I was startled because this doesn't happen in the pictures normally. And it took him by complete surprise. You know when there's graffiti on a wall and they have to sandblast it to get it off? That's what these jets felt like. Sandblasting him clean of, well, what? Sins? Resentment? Feelings of impurity? All the sense of low self-esteem that led him to having multiple surgeries and all the rest of the stuff. It felt like the jets were removing every single reason to feel undeserving of love, undeserving of appreciation. Removing low self-esteem, removing poor self-image, removing the need to change himself away from his authentic, true nature. That's what this felt like. Because once it was over, once the jet stopped, and he'd finished crying, because he felt that relief. Have you ever been through this where you have an emotional release, a massive emotional release, and you feel so much lighter once it's done? You feel able to move forward again. The burden is lifted. The boulder is taken off your shoulders. That's what this felt like. And when he emerged, when the jet stopped, he was standing there lighter and feeling way more easy about the process. So much so that when he walked up the rest of the tunnel, he emerged into this symbolic cave I always see with the dome in it. And he stood there just looking at this dome. Although there was still this feeling of maybe I should go back. Should I really take this step? Can I not resolve this in some way and complete what I was supposed to do? There was an element of that I felt. It wasn't resistance, it was just wariness of the finality of what was about to happen. And he walked around this thing, and then he got up on these little jagged rocks that there always seem to be, and he rubbed his hand across the surface. And he was going, is this for real? Is this whole thing for real? And the finality of it finally hit him at this moment. And he's reaching in, and he smiled. But that smile, not of Michael Jackson when he was 50, Michael Jackson when he was 20. Young Michael Jackson, innocent Michael Jackson, pre-surgery, pre-breakdown kind of Michael Jackson. And he reached in, smiled, and goes, wow, okay, all right. And he parted the way, and he went in. And as he went in, I could see him dissolve. Normally they go in and they just disappear, like that's it. But I could see him dissolving as he went. He became one with all that is at the very moment that he passed through. After so much torment, so much misery, so much bullying and punishment and suspicion, he was happy at last. It's amazing. Amazing. But the amount of injustice he felt initially cannot be overstated. He knew something had gone wrong. He knew something wasn't right. But eventually he knew he had to leave that behind. The universe played a trick on him, really, in a weird way. It's like, yeah, you can come back to that later. Come up here and see what's up here. And he walked into the jets. And once he was finished with the jets and he was cleansed of all his issues and worries and low self-esteem and so on, once that had happened, he didn't really want to go back. There was no reason for him to go back. Ahead lay satisfaction, happiness, harmony, rest, acceptance for who he really was. And he'd never known that. And that's it. Alrighty, thank you very much for watching, guys. I really, really appreciate it. Subscribe, like, share, all the stuff. Follow me on Twitter if you want, at CashPeters. That'd be great too. Alright, so I'll see you very soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.